What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. We've had a lot of content today, haven't we? Well, anyway, comedian Aries Spears, who has been a frequent guest on Vlad TV, and I don't know why he goes on Vlad, but whatever. He's been a frequent guest on there, and they started talking about the NBA. And, Vlad's very funny about people posting any content from his channel on their platform. So I'm not going to play any clips or even any audio. So I'm just going to tell you basically what was said. You can look at that channel and see for yourself your interpretation of what was said. But apparently they started talking about the NBA season, and they were talking about how Vlad was talking about the teams that are slated to have the best odds of winning championships. And I believe he said that the top team was the Thunder, which makes sense. They're the returning NBA champions. Their future looks very bright as far as next couple of years as far as draft picks is concerned. Sam Presti is their general manager, has done a remarkable job with trades and drafting up until the early 2030s. But anyway, number 2 is Cleveland. And I think Aries Spears said if he had to go with it, he thought that New York should be second. Third was, I think, Denver. Fourth was New York. Fifth was Houston. And LA was 6 as far as the top 6 teams being more likely to win championship. And Aries had a problem with LA being that high. I agree with that. Part of it was he thought that LeBron James is old. Secondly, he thought that Luka and LeBron are not the best tandem or the tandem that people make them out to be. And the pieces around Luka and LeBron are not championship level. And I agree with that. And Aries went on to talk about, LeBron James's championships and how they're not as impressive as people make them out to be. And Aries Spears, Vlad was like, well, LeBron still has 4 championships, still has 4. And Aries was like, yeah, he got 4, but he's 4-6 versus 6-0. And we all know that Aries Spears is an adamant Michael Jordan fan, right? So then Aries said this, and I'm speaking in verbatim here. One of them is the bubble. Talking about the championships. One of them in the bubble. The other one, Ray Allen saved you. That was the 2013 championship against the Spurs. Some could argue that Kyrie Irving saved you. Who saved Jordan? Well, it's an oversimplification of things, but that is a talking point that many of us have had about LeBron versus Jordan. And that is when you look at some of the situations involved, one of them was the bubble, where there was a work stoppage of 4.5 months, if I remember correctly, in the NBA season. The season stopped in mid-March and didn't start back up until late July, right? So Anthony Davis, who had been kind of injury plagued when the season stopped, was able to get healed. LeBron was older, playing the point guard position at 35 at the time, I think he was, but he was a rejuvenated and refreshed 35, right, when the bubble picked up. Plus, Lakers were the only team able to practice. It's funny how that's the one goddamn year that the Lakers practiced when LeBron felt he had a competitive advantage. No other team was allowed to practice because of, people supposed to be quarantining. But, well, if not necessarily quarantine, people supposed to be wearing masks and isolating themselves from each other. But it didn't apply to Lakers. And, no road games, no crowds, a lot of players, a lot of marquee players didn't participate in the bubble. A lot of us just don't hold the bubble title to the same standards as other championships. The Ray Allen one, that's another player that LeBron James had on his team that doesn't get credit. And that's just something that the media tends to do. They don't tend to give credit to LeBron James's teammates. Ray Allen definitely saved his bacon in that one. Now, yeah, you could argue LeBron had a big game that night or that day. If I remember correctly, I think LeBron had a big game going into that quarter. Yes, this is all true. No one's taking it away from him. But if Ray Allen doesn't hit that three, more than likely the San Antonio Spurs were going to win that championship. And Tim Duncan has 6 rings if what happened in 2014 also occurs. And then, it is looking kind of shaky. Plus Kyrie Irving. Despite the Harrison Barnes forgetting how to shoot, despite the injuries to Steph Curry, despite the ending injury to what's the guy's name, the big man, Andrew Bogut, despite the Game 5 suspension to Draymond Green, who's playing the best basketball of his fucking life by far at that time, they still barely edged it out. If Kyrie Irving doesn't hit that three, then Golden State probably edges it out. So yeah, if you look at these 3 things, shit, LeBron could theoretically be 1-9 with only that victory against the Thunder in 2012. As opposed to Michael Jordan, who never won a game 7 with any opponent. He never won a situation where it was a do or die situation in the finals. At most, they gave up 2 games. That is a big difference. And his biggest offensive help was Scottie Pippen. And then in the second three-peat, sometimes the secondary guy might be Tony Kukoc. But Tony Kukoc is not an NBA Hall of Famer. He's a European and international Hall of Famer. What he did overseas more than warrants his induction to the Basketball Hall of Fame. But Tony Kukoc is not an NBA Hall of Famer. Scottie Pippen's an NBA Hall of Famer. But Scottie Pippen was not the offensive talent that a Ray Allen was as far as shooting the basketball. He wasn't an offensive talent as far as a variety of ways to score, and including the mid-range and, as far as offensive moves and as far as what I want to say here, Scottie Pippen couldn't score in a variety of ways. Put it like that. Scottie Pippen could not score in a variety of ways that Dwayne Wade could. He's not the dynamic player that Luka Doncic is. You know what I'm saying? He's not as dominant a player as Anthony Davis, right? So he wasn't as dynamic as even Russell Westbrook. You could argue he's greater because of the 6 championships and his lockdown defense, but he wasn't offensively as great as Russell Westbrook. So let's cut this bullshit, man. Let's cut it. And I agree. If it wasn't for his teammates, LeBron wouldn't even be 4-6. And when you look at the talent he played with, he should be at least 6-4, not 4-6. Yeah, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.